Leo wasn't like other lions while his mighty roar echoed across the sun-baked savannah, commanding respect from zebras and sending shivers down the spines of wandering gazelles. A secret fear gnawed at him deep inside. Leo was terrified of silence. The vast emptiness of the quiet African nights filled him with a dread colder than the deepest waterhole. When the cicadas stopped their evening song and the wind died down, leaving only the immense, watchful hush of the stars, Leo's heart would pound against his ribs like a trapped bird. He felt small and lost, convinced that silence meant loneliness, that it swallowed up the world and left him utterly alone. He would lie awake, his great golden eyes wide, straining to hear anything: a distant hyena's whoop, the rustle of a mouse in the grass, even the faintest sigh of the breeze to escape this terrifying quiet. Leo filled his days and nights with constant sound. He roared at the sunrise. Just because he could, he stomped through dry riverbeds, crunching pebbles loudly under his massive paws. He challenged buffalo herds just to hear the thunder of their hooves and the clash of horns against his own. He'd even follow groups of chattering monkeys through the trees, finding strange comfort in their endless screeching and squabbling. The other animals whispered about the noisy lion, some amused, some annoyed. "Why doesn't the king of beasts just rest?" grumbled an old tortoise, trying to nap. But Leo didn't care. The noise was his shield, his constant companion against the suffocating fear that silence brought. One particularly still night, Leo's usual tactics failed him. Exhausted from a day of fruitless roaring and pointless stomping, he collapsed beneath his favorite acacia tree. The usual night chorus was absent. No owls hooted, no insects chirped, not even a leaf rustled. The silence descended like a heavy, invisible blanket, pressing down on him. He squeezed his eyes shut, buried his face in his thick mane, and trembled. It felt like the world had vanished, leaving him floating in a terrifying void. Sleep was impossible. His breath came in short, sharp gasps, the only sound in the immense, suffocating quiet. This was worse than any fight, any drought. This silence felt like it would crush him, steal his very breath. He knew he couldn't live like this anymore. Driven by desperation as the pale light of dawn began to creep over the horizon, Leo sought out the oldest and wisest creature he knew, Old Keeper, the owl who lived high in the ancient baobab tree. With a voice rough from disuse and fear, Leo confessed his terrible secret. "The silence, it eats me alive. Wise one," he murmured, hanging his great head low. "It feels like emptiness, like being forgotten by the whole world." Old Keeper blinked slowly, her enormous, moon-like eyes holding no mockery, only deep understanding. She tilted her head, considering the trembling lion. "Ah, young king," she hooted softly, "you mistake silence for emptiness. It is not a void, but a vessel. It holds space for things too subtle for roaring and stomping. You fear it because you have never truly listened to it, only run from it, intrigued yet deeply skeptical." Leo followed Old Keeper's first suggestion. She guided him to Echo Canyon, a deep, narrow gorge where even the smallest sound bounced and multiplied. "Roar here," she instructed Leo, eager for familiar noise. Let out his most tremendous roar. The canyon walls threw it back 100-fold, a deafening, chaotic symphony of overlapping roars that made the ground vibrate. Leo roared again and again, filling the air with thunder. But when he finally stopped, panting, the returning echoes gradually faded, dwindling down, down, down until the original, profound silence of the canyon returned, deeper and more noticeable than before. The contrast was jarring. The amplified noise hadn't banished the silence. It had only made its return more powerful, more absolute. He felt more afraid than ever, defeated and weary. Leo returned to Old Keeper. She simply nodded. "Noise cannot conquer silence. It only hides it. True quiet must be met, not masked. Go now, not to make sound, but to find it. Sit beneath the whispering trees at dusk. Truly sit, and listen with heavy paws and a heavier heart." Leo walked deep into the forest as the sun began to set, painting the sky in fiery oranges and purples. He found a mossy spot beneath a giant fig tree, its branches heavy with fruit and life. He sat down, forcing himself to be still, his muscles tense, ready to flee the quiet he expected. He closed his eyes, bracing for the terrifying emptiness. But then, something extraordinary happened as he stopped fighting, stopped waiting for the silence to attack. He began to hear it wasn't emptiness at all, it was a tapestry woven from countless tiny threads of sound. He heard the soft drip, drip, drip of sap falling onto a broad leaf somewhere above. He heard the incredibly faint scritch-scratch of a beetle navigating the bark of the fig tree. He heard the gentle sigh of the wind high up in the canopy, a sound like a mother breathing over her sleeping child. He heard the distant, rhythmic thump of his own great heart. Steady and strong, he heard the rustle of a tiny shrew far away in the undergrowth. Each sound was small, delicate, precious. They didn't fill the silence. They lived within it, part of its fabric. The quiet wasn't an enemy. It was a vast, gentle presence holding all these beautiful, hidden things. Leo felt a profound peace settle over him. Warmer than the setting sun, he leaned his massive head against the fig tree's trunk, a slow, deep sigh escaping him. Not of fear, but of release. The quiet didn't shrink him. It made him feel part of something immense and alive for the first time. Leo didn't just endure the silence. He rested within it. He finally understood that true quiet wasn't the absence of sound, but the presence of everything else. And with that understanding, the mighty lion who feared silence closed his eyes and slept deeply, peacefully, under the watchful stars, a quiet king at last.